2022 Brazilian presidential election. Last Monday, October 24, 2022. Brazilian Minister of Communications Fabio Faria held a speech in front of the Palácio do Alvorada with the former Secretary of Communication of the Presidency, Fabio Wajngarten, and announced that an audit hired by the campaign of President Jair Bolsonaro, PL, caught irregularities in the advertisements of the candidate for re-election in the second round of elections. According to the former secretary, the total number of times in which the insert stopped being broadcast would be 53 days of partisan propaganda. According to the member of the federal government, Bolsonaro had 154,085 fewer insertions than the former president and candidate for the command of the Planalto, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, PT. In the Northeast alone, in the week of October 7 to 14, there were 12,000 fewer insertions. And the following week, from the 14th to the 21st, it went to over 17,000. The strongest place for this is the state of Bahia. In the first week alone, there were more than 7,000 more for Lula, he pointed out. Faria communicated that he was this afternoon with the president of the Superior Electoral Court, TSE, Alexander de Moraes, and presented the numbers of the survey. This is a serious violation of the electoral system. And now the TSE is going to investigate to find out why these radios did that, said the minister. The complaint of Faria and Wajngarten is that the region most affected was the Northeast, with 18.24% fewer insertions than the candidate of the Workers' Party.
The Superior Electoral Court, TSE, exonerated public servant Alexander Gomes Machado, who was then responsible for receiving and making available radio and TV electoral advertisements in the Electoral Court's electronic system. The resignation was published this Wednesday, 26. In a spontaneous statement to the federal police, the former servant claims to have been fired, without any apparent reason, after learning about an alleged error in the insertion of electoral documents by President Jair Bolsonaro, PL, candidate for re-election, on a radio. The declarant, as coordinator of the TSE broadcasting pool, received an email from the radio station JM Online in which the radio admitted that, from October 7 to 10, it had stopped transmitting in its programming 100 insertions from the Coalition for the Good of Brazil, referring to the candidate Jair Bolsonaro, says an excerpt from the testimony. To PF, federal police, Alexander Machado also said he was a victim of abuse of authority and admitted fear for his physical integrity, which would justify the corporation's search for a statement made to the federal police superintendents in the federal district after his resignation. The dismissal of Alexander Gomes Machado comes days after Jair Bolsonaro's campaign denounced alleged irregularities in the candidate's insertions on radio stations in the North and Northeast. As Jovem showed, last Monday, the 24th, the Minister of Communications, Fabio Faria, and the head of communication for Bolsonaro's campaign, Fabio Wajngarten, stated at a press conference that several insertions were no longer broadcast on radios, talking about serious violation of the electoral system. According to them, an audit hired by the president's campaign found irregularities in the candidate's advertising. According to the survey, the current president had 154,085 fewer insertions than his competitor. In the Northeast alone, in the week of October 7 to 14, there were 12,000 fewer insertions. And the following week, from the 14th to the 21st, it went to over 17,000. The strongest place for this is the state of Bahia. In the first week alone, there were more than 7,000 more for Lula, they defended. According to Faria and de Wajngarten, the region most affected was the Northeast, with 18.24% fewer insertions than Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, candidate of the Workers' Party.
Please subscribe.